moving slightly away from protein as a muscle builder to the role of amino acids and the effect they have on the brain. Now, when you eat any protein that you eat has all of the amino acids. The ratios might vary slightly, but basically you'll have a good mix of amino acids. When you take and isolate a single amino acid, that can have a very different effect. It doesn't have a muscle building effect in any way whatsoever. But because these amino acids can cross the blood-brain barrier, they can circulate around the bloodstream. And if you have a lot of one amino acid, it can cross the blood-brain barrier and affect the neurotransmission in the brain. We know that tryptophan is an amino acid. It's found in chicken and turkey. It's quite rich. However, in chicken and turkey, it's found along with all the other amino acids. But when you get isolated tryptophan and you take it, because there's relatively a lot of tryptophan then in your bloodstream compared to the others, it can preferentially cross that blood-brain barrier and get into your brain, where it can be converted into the precursors of serotonin. And serotonin, as you're probably aware, is a neurotransmitter, which makes you feel calm and happy. And, for example, tyrosine is another amino acid, which is known to have a stimulatory effect. So, yes, if you get an amino acid supplement which contains just one or two, which are known on their own to be stimulatory to the brain, that might enhance performance. Have I seen double-blind controlled scientific studies showing this to be the case? I haven't. But that doesn't mean that because there are no studies, doesn't mean that doesn't mean they definitely won't work. It means that at the moment, I couldn't put my hand on my heart and say I would recommend them. This is where sports drinks do have an advantage. It's the convenience. They can give you the optimum blend of nutrients in a very, very easily kind of accessible form. So you can stick some whey protein recovery drink you put the powder into a bottle, and then when you finish training, just add the water, shake it, and it's down the hatch. For a sprint athlete, I would probably recommend a recovery formula which is relatively high in whey protein, so maybe 50% protein, 50% carbohydrate, 1-to-1. This compares with perhaps 1-to-3 for an endurance athlete. An endurance athlete might have 1 part of protein to 3 parts of carbohydrate. But because the volume of training for a power and sprint athlete is lower, and there's more emphasis on strength, then the ratio of protein needs to be higher. So I would say 1-to-1. If someone is lactose intolerant, pure filtered whey protein should contain very, very little. Obviously, you do get small amounts come through. It's possible as well to buy, you can buy lactase, which is an enzyme which you can add, which helps to break down that milk sugar. Lactose is a naturally occurring carbohydrate. It's a sugar found in milk. But there are other proteins as well. You can buy hydrolyzed proteins. You can get hydrolyzed soy protein, for example, or hydrolyzed pea protein. Now, soy protein and pea protein are broken down quite slowly, so they're not the optimum protein for post-exercise recovery. However, when you hydrolyze them, what you do is you basically break down those proteins before you even bottle them. So those long protein chains are broken down into very small chunks. They call it denaturing. So that when those proteins go into your body, a lot of the breaking down process has already been carried out for you, so they're released a lot more quickly. Yes, although you have to overconsume quite a lot. Let's go through them. First is if you have a very high amount of protein, your body just breaks down all the protein and discards what it doesn't need. Now that's hard work for your kidneys. Your kidneys have to filter the excess protein. You excrete it as urea in your urine. So very high amounts of protein for long periods of time increases the workload that the kidneys have to do. However, probably more important than that for a healthy athlete is simply the fact that if you have high amounts of protein, you may well be pushing out other important nutrients. We haven't talked much about carbohydrate, but athletes of all descriptions require carbohydrate. Power athletes require less carbohydrate, it's true, than endurance athletes, but they still require carbohydrate, which is your muscle's 5-star fuel. So if you're having large amounts of protein, you may well find that if you're doing a relatively high volume of training, you may start to feel a bit sluggish because your carbohydrate intake is quite low. So as well as consuming protein, you have to also consume the nutrients that your body uses to process protein. I would say that if you overconsume protein, you may well not have room or time for fruits, vegetables, high quality carbohydrates like whole grains and beans and whole grain brown rice and all these things which are packed with other nutrients.
As usual, thanks for listening, and if you like what we've talked about, do give the video a thumbs up and do subscribe to the channel. We're looking to do more videos on the nutritional aspects of sports performance with Andy, and I'd like to get some of your comments and feedback as if, whether or not you liked what we did, and if there's any specific topics that you'd like us to cover.